But anyways, let's talk about the problem with Gen Z. So there was a video that Suburban Will posted up. It kind of popped up on my feed. Of course, I'm subscribed to him. If you haven't subscribed to him, you probably should. In my personal opinion, he actually really makes good, high quality content compared to me. My sorry ass can't even do good stuff right now at the moment. I can't do really good content right now, at least at the very moment. I gotta start small and then work my way up, you know, to make some of the better content. But anyways, so we saw his last video specifically of how Gen Z dates people, which was pretty jarring to me, right? Because I'm not a Gen Zer, okay? Sorry to burst your bubble, people who are in the Gen Z category. I'm not a Gen Zer, okay? I've been alive for centuries on this planet, okay? All right? I was alive when King Tut was still in his diapers, okay? So, honestly, I'm very curious to see, like, how, like, what do you mean, like, how bad? Well, actually, I can probably think of two things off the top of my head, and I'm curious to see if he'll actually talk about it in this video. One of them is, like, Gen Z is super heavy gooner-esque, you know, they're always, like, they're always horny, you know? I'm kind of curious if he'll actually talk about it, but anyways, let's go jump into the video and see, find out real quick. Let's take a look, shall we? Teach me the Gen Z stuff.
Have you ever tried to have a conversation with someone, but every time you try to get a word in, someone else comes along and talks over you? That's kind of what it's like being Gen Z. Even though we're all grown up now, every time we try to talk, someone older comes along to tell us to shut up. It's kind of annoying, honestly. Every week, some glorified blogger calling themselves a journalist writes an article talking about everything wrong with our generation. But the moment any one of us tries to speak up, there's 5 more people telling us why we're wrong.
Really? Interesting. Perhaps be me. Time to goon, let's go. That's interesting. So they have like older people or something that tells Gen Zers to like shut the fuck up, basically. If only I was born in 1996, I wouldn't be part of this gen. Amen. You're part of the generation of a girl who's gonna have sex with 1,000 guys, okay? You know, that's your guys' generation. That's gonna be your guys' legacy left for like eons now.
Agreements between different generations isn't a new thing, but when you're Gen Z, you're stuck in this weird position where nobody respects your opinion, but they always feel a need to insert themselves in your conversation. We're at the bottom of the totem pole beneath the washed up millennials and our Gen X parents. And
I actually don't really care about the, you know, it's like, I care, like personally, I'm not gonna talk over, like, Gen Zers, because I have at least, like, a good majority of Gen Zers, and I always listen to them, right? Do I always agree with everything? No, I do not. Personally, my views are a little bit more different than theirs, but hey, mine's are a little bit more, how do I say this, more rougher than theirs, because it's just, you know, back in ye old times, you know, things were a little bit more, how do I say, more brutal, more brutal, I guess you can say. It's like basically like a COD lobby, and that's kind of like the simple way of doing it.
And there's also the baby boomers, but they're kind of on the way out. I don't sit here and pretend to know what it's like to be Gen X or a millennial, but everyone seems to think they know what it's like to be Gen Z. I understand that you were my age once too, but believe it or not, things are different. Don't act like when you were my age, you didn't have to turn your phone backwards to take a selfie. I noticed that the people who do this the most tend to be millennials. Probably because before we became the worst generation, they were the ones who got all the hate. And I will admit, a lot of their experiences are similar to ours. But instead of being chill about it, a lot of millennials just come off as bitter. Rejected again, bro. How hard is it to find a new job these days? Nobody wants to hire anybody young. Hey man, at least they didn't ghost you this time like most companies. I still haven't heard back from that one place. Wow. Looks like Gen Z is finally starting to figure it out. Welcome to the real world, kids. This isn't anything new. I remember when they told us, just go to college, get your degree, and it'll all work out. All lies. You might as well give it up now. There's no hope for the future. You get that degree and no one wants to hire you. So you end up working a soul-sucking customer service job like this for 10 years. Then your girlfriend leaves you because she says the spark is gone, but you're too drained to even care. Now you drown your sorrows with video games and a geek bar every night, but at least they added Goku to Fortnite, so you have something to live for. Hey, are you guys even listening to me? What was that guy talking about over there? I don't know. Bro thinks we're listening to that yap sesh. Facts, bro. Yo, check out this girl that DM'd me yesterday. Oh, she kind of bad though. I'm saying.
You want to know something? Funny story. So this is pertaining to this situation, right? There is a Gen Zer who I used to work with a long time ago, but except like there were like other Gen Zers, right? I shit you not, I have no idea why it's mostly the young guys. Usually the young guys literally like to like gloat, I guess, like trying to like stroke their own ego. And for some apparent reason, he was showing videos to the coworkers, the guy coworkers, let me remind you, the guy coworkers, that he was literally like getting a blowjob from like from this one girl, apparently. Like he was showing them, like he was literally showing them to like other coworkers. Usually the guys, just the guys only. And like, and I was just kind of like, okay, all right. Like he literally straight up was like showing it, and I'm just kind of like, of course I didn't see it. Of course I can give two fucking shits, right? As normal in the guys, but it's so weird though. It's like I just can't really wrap my head around that. That's just so weird. It's a lot of the young guys that do that. They like to gloat around like when they get fucking laid or something, or you know, or have sex with a girl. I just don't understand. I just can't see the. I don't know. I just can't see it. You know, I just can't grasp my head around that. It's just so weird. It's like, ew. Like I don't need to learn about your sex life, okay? I don't. I'm working, you know? I'm fucking working. I don't need to learn about this or hear about it, you know? Keep that shit away from the workspace. It's simple.
I think that the relationship between millennials and Gen Z is interesting because they went through the same things we're going through only a few years before. But our experiences are still drastically different in some areas. Computers and the internet started taking over the world when they were teens and young adults, while we were...
That is 100% a fact. That is 100% a fact.
Were born into the digital age. Social media changed the way they communicated with each other, and it changed the way we grew up entirely. I've noticed that while the average Gen Z mind is filled with TikTok brain rot and Vine references, millennials as a generation seem to carry a lot of angst. I suppose that being the first generation of the digital era, millennials came into a world that promised them a lot and didn't really deliver on any of it. They watched the rules of the world change, while every generation before them told them it was their fault. They were the young, dumb kids once, and now Gen Z is walking in their footsteps and calling them old. I think that deep down, Gen Z does have a lot of respect for millennials for being the ones who walk so we could run. Even though they are kinda cringe, they're some of the only people who understand what it's like to be in our position. I think a lot of us just wish that they'd spend less time lecturing us like we're still a bunch of dumb kids.
I don't really I personally don't lecture anybody. You know, I just kind of like, you know, I give advices, that's about it. I don't really lecture anybody about like, oh yeah, you know, back in my time, you know. I don't really do that. It's very interesting to see, like, I don't know if he is a Gen Zer, right? I don't know if this guy is a Gen Zer, right? But it's very interesting to kind of hear and like kind of see the perspective of like the other generation of what they think. Blame modern hip hop. There is a double standards for men sleeping with a lot of women. Men get praised while women get a bad rep for it. It is what it is. I personally, I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, but if you're like sleeping with multiple people, it's just fucking disgusting for me. Personally, like, I don't want to know how much is your body. For some apparent reason, that seems to be a thing or so for a lot of younger generations, or like just a lot of younger people. They like to like say like, oh yeah, you know, even like the later millennials that's closer to the Gen Zers, right? The later millennials that were born, they were also, just kind of like, yeah, I'm like fucking, yeah, I'm gonna fucking, say like, oh yeah, I've had sex with these many women or so, What's your star sign? Dude, I wasn't born here, so I have no idea. There's no such thing as calendars or years or months or stuff in the void, so I have no birthday.
Speak to us like adults. A lot of us might still be young, but ultimately, millennials are some of our biggest allies when we aren't arguing about who grew up with the better childhood. Millennials also need to learn that sometimes you just gotta let young people have things. We've all seen that one 35-year-old still trying to cling to their youth, making everything awkward. Like, chill, Unc. We know you don't really listen to Cardi like that. It's time for you to get into jazz. The other group Gen Z tends to interact a lot with are Gen X. Mainly because for
Gen X? Who the fuck is Gen X? Wait. Gen X. I've never heard. Granted, like I don't keep up with the generations and stuff like that. What age is Gen X? So Generation X is the generation born in 1965 and 1980s, are currently between the ages of 44 and 59. Really? Is that actually true? That like Gen Zers actually interact with the Gen X? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a Gen Zer have like an interaction with the Gen X. Actually, no. There was that one dude that was like kind of like showing the guys or so about him smashing this one girl apparently one night. There was a person who was in the Gen X generation. And they were showing it to him and he was like, "Oh yeah, dude, that's cool, man, blah 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 blah." And that's pretty much it. So
for most of us, this is the generation our parents belong to. Gen X is really interesting because they're kind of like a hybrid between the baby boomers that came before them and the millennials that came after them. They tend to be a little more progressive and open-minded like millennials, but they also have tendencies that remind you that they're still an older, more traditional generation. What's wrong,
yeah.
son? You don't seem like yourself. Yeah, it's just, things have been kind of hard lately. I wouldn't sound depressed, but I just don't feel okay. Well, son, you can always talk to me about how you feel. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Wow, really? Thanks, Mom. Of course. In fact, I think I know what your problem is. You do? Yeah. It's because you're always on that damn phone. I swear, your generation is just addicted to technology. And that's why you have so many mental health issues. Back in my day,
Yeah, I cannot relate to this, right? Well, actually kind of to some degree, but not like mental illness or anything like that.
Where are you going? Sit back down. I'm turning this into a lecture. Gen X is kinda in the position the baby boomers were in when the millennials were our age. A lot of them are the ones interviewing us for jobs, running the businesses we work in, and are now running to represent us in our government. Think about that. Our parents are now the ones running the country. Gen X are the last generation who grew up without the internet, so their generation has a very unique perspective. They're still really old school and don't always understand things like social media, video games, and pop culture, but they can at least open a PDF on their own after you show them how. But as much as I make fun of my parents for not knowing about newer technology, I still have to ask my mom how to address an envelope whenever I need to mail something. The contrast between...
Damn, that's crazy. Well, I remember I used to be able to send letters before. Yeah, I remember doing that. And that's crazy that not a lot of people, not even the younger generation, knows how to... It's kind of crazy when you wrap your head around it that the younger generation don't know certain things compared to, like, someone who's in the older gen, you know? Like, what's a floppy disk? How to send a letter, you know?
Gen Z and Gen X is really starting to show, because now that Gen Z has reached adulthood, our ideas about life are starting to clash. We've grown up seeing people making careers out of things we used to call hobbies. And while a lot of us want to pursue something we're passionate about, our Gen X parents don't always understand. At least not until you start.
So fucking true. Dude, that is so fucking true, man. Holy shit, dude. fucking parents, like just parents from the older generations, just don't understand that there's other ways of making money, dude. It's not always a 9 to 5 job, you know, where you have to like go to school, complete high school, go to college or a university, complete that, you get a fucking bachelor's degree or something, or a master's degree later down the line, you know. No, it's not like that anymore. You know, you can make money like almost many different ways possible, you know?
Start making money from it. Mom, Dad, I have something I want to tell you. Oh, honey, it's okay. Your father and I always knew you liked boys. Wait, what? No, I'm not coming out. I just think I really want to pursue a career in music. I think I have what it takes to make it. Oh, son, are you sure? You know we support whatever you do, but maybe we should try something a bit more realistic. Yeah, like, what happened when you wanted to be a doctor? Dad, the last time I said that I was 4. Besides, one of my songs blew up last month and I made 20K on Spotify. Well, why didn't you just say that? You need to hop in the booth. Wait, stay still. I need to take a picture for everyone on Facebook. My little bit.
Yep. You want to know, you really want to know what gets the adults actually talking and supporting your hobbies? You pull out the money. When you pull out more than $5,000 from the hobbies that you do, they are immediately 100%, they change their tone. Exactly. They don't really care about like the shit that you talk about, but when you show actual like proof, results, and like dedication to the shit that you do, they start speaking a different tune very fucking easily. I know this for a fact.
Baby, a hip-hop superstar. I still remember when I used to change your diapers. I know how frustrating it can be when it seems like your parents don't support your goals. But I try to remember that they only have our best interests at heart. And for a lot of Gen X, financial security is really important.
Yes.
It seems like parents switch up once you're finally making money, but it's just their way of knowing that you're gonna be okay without them. Gen Z is finally reaching adulthood and
Mama Azathoth is a little bit worried about me. I'm gonna be very honest with you guys here. Mama Azathoth is slightly worried about me and my future because, you know, it's like, well, it's almost like the financial stability is almost like near impossible. And I'm always having a little bit of a rough time with situations here and there. And also, I don't really have a partner. Doesn't matter, girl or guy, doesn't matter. Partner, just in general, partner. I just don't have a partner. And she's kind of worried that, like, you know, that I'm going to become homeless, apparently. That's what she's thinking. She always has that at the back of her mind. But the stuff that I've been doing and pursuing, right? Like, yes, I don't make thousands of dollars, right? I don't make thousands of dollars, but I do make a good chunk of money, you know? It's not like, you know, all right, guys, time to gear up. Code needs the community. Like, it's not like I earn crazy amount of money. Like, yes, I do know how to draw. Yes, I did do commissions in the past. Do I still continue it? No, I really don't. I just kind of like enjoy drawing. I just kind of enjoy drawing for funs at the end of the day. Did I get into competitions, you know, to be semi-professional in what I used to play? Yes, I did. But I never went far beyond that because there was no way I was going to compete against a guy who was just way better than me. Like, there was just no way. What is it? Like, I learned a lot of different traits. Like, I learned how to do animations. I learned how to, well, on my own, you know. I just learned a bunch of different things, but I'm not a master at any of it, you know. Like, yes, I know how to change oil, you know. I know how to change a tire for a car, you know. Everyone in the family had to learn mechanic, you know. Everybody, even my younger sister had to learn it. So everybody knows how to do certain things, you know. But for me personally, I'm just not a master at any of it. Like, I know a lot of things, but I'm not a master at any of it.
As more of us become adults, I think we are beginning to realize that something is different about us. We're coming in as the most educated generation, we're far less likely to commit crime, and we're also more racially and culturally diverse compared to previous generations. But there is this stigma of
that also is very true as well. Compared to the older generation, there is definitely a very racial stigmatization show to stay in a certain friend group, you know, compared to the younger generation where it's more diverse.
Of Gen Z being the generation of hypersensitive, moody, depressed adults. Millennials had oat milk lattes and avocado toast, and Gen Z has mental.
Look. I'm gonna be honest here with you. I didn't have lattes or avocado toast. Okay, I'm gonna be straight up honest here with you. I've never had any of those. I did not taste avocado toast until I'd say 3 years ago when someone told me about it. I tried it. I think it was okay. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's anything fucking crazy or anything like that. But I think I prefer to have my guacamole dip personally in a carne asada fries, and that's pretty much it. So
mental health days and antidepressants. I think we're going through what
I can't
boomers
fix
went
any
through
about
with
the ads,
cigarettes.
unfortunately.
Everyone knew that smoking was bad, but didn't realize it was that bad until doctors began linking it to lung cancer. And while hardly any members of Gen Z actually smoke cigarettes, I think we're beginning to see the effects of the first generation raised on social media and YouTube videos. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sound like a parent saying the reason you're depressed is because of that phone. What I'm saying is, despite all of these different ways to connect with others online, the world seems like it's becoming more individualistic. We're trading genuine community for online interaction, and I think Gen Z is the biggest casualty of this.
For me specifically, I don't have any IRL friends anymore. So the people that I used to hang out with a long time ago, right, even back in the void, I don't hang out with them anymore. I have not connected with any of them in like decades. And all of my friends are mostly online. Why? Just cuz.
Live in a weird time now where everyone feels like they don't owe anyone anything, not even kindness or respect. Everyone has walls up and they don't want to let people in. And that's why I think Gen Z is stuck in a loneliness epidemic. And the solution is a bit more complicated than I think people realize. Older generations always preach, young people need to get.
If you liked avocado toast, I was about to drop a hard X on you. I think it was okay. Like, would I eat it every day? Probably not. But I don't know if I didn't make it correctly. Like, all I did was just like, all I personally did, right, was just like cut avocados. Like, I just cut avocados in like a what is it? I don't know how to, what's it called? I didn't know it was supposed to be like a spread on, a spread on a bun. I just cut the avocado and just put the avocado on the bread and just ate it like that. And I was just like, really? Is this what people go crazy for? But then I didn't know it's supposed to be like a spread like butter. And I was just like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay, because I was like, fuck, I don't see the craziness on avocado toast. So that's the only thing. That's normal or mash it. Have a good rest. Take care, Ramon. Interesting. Yeah, all I basically did was like, I grabbed bagels, right? I had bagel bread. So I grabbed the bagel bread, I put it in the toaster, and I popped it out, right? Instead of putting avocado, I put cream cheese on top of it, and then I just put slices of avocado on it, and then that's it. Put some salt and pepper and lemon juice and mash it. But then, like, why wouldn't I just make like a Hispanic avocado dip? Guacamole. Why don't I just make guacamole at that point? And just use it as a dipping sauce. Yeah, I could just use it for nachos instead. But hey, that's just me.
Get out there and make friends the old-fashioned way. But even in traditional settings, it can still be hard to connect with people. Okay, team, that's a wrap on that section of the meeting. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, you in the back. Are there any social events in the office? I've just been here a few months and still feel like I don't really know anybody. Oh, that is a great question, young man. We actually have a social event next Wednesday at noon. We're doing 90s trivia. You should come. That sounds great, but I was born in 2000. I don't know anything about the 90s. Ooh, Let's put a pin in that, and we'll circle back and try to synergize a solution.
Wait, that's a thing? Wait, jobs actually have social parties or social gatherings? Out of all the jobs that I worked at, they've never had anything like that. I thought that was just a myth or something. Or part of like cartoons or part of like comedy sketch shows or something like that, you know?
Maybe give others a chance to piggyback on that. Even within Gen Z, if you're not someone who's interested in spending your weekends partying or drinking, it's hard to even hang out casually with others. Even dating has a lot of Gen Z feeling really confused. I hear a lot about how Gen Z is very sex negative, and a lot of research.
Really? Gen Z is sex? I don't believe that, dude. I really don't believe that, because the people that I've interacted with for like at least during the Gen Zers, bro, they're fucking horny as a motherfucker, dude. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. I don't know why. I can't fathom with it, because the interactions that I've had with some Gen Zers, dude, those motherfuckers are horny as a motherfucker, dude. Like, no joke. Like, straight up. Really, they're sex negative. I can't think about it, because you want to know something, because that one girl is having sex with like 100. She just recently just had sex with 100 dudes in one night, and then apparently she's gonna try to break the world record and have sex with 1,000 dudes in 24 hours. I'm like, really? I don't know about that one. Oh man, interesting.
Shows that Gen Z on average is having a lot less sex compared to other generations. Obviously, the lack of genuine in-person connections makes it difficult to find a partner, but I also think a lot.
That is true, yeah, because we saw the guy on the like doing the Omegle stuff who was like hitting on like high school girls, and it's like he's like 22 years old, so he's a Gen Zer. So it's just like I don't believe it, dude. Birds of a feather flock together makes sense. That's your crowd. But dude, the problem is these are Gen Zers. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about millennials. They're Gen Zers. That's what makes it the most weirdest thing. It's like they're Gen Zers, but like they're horny as a motherfucker though. That's what I don't understand. And then he's saying that the Gen Zers are sex negative. I'm just like, I don't know, dude.
A lot of Gen Z simply doesn't want to participate in hookup culture either. But social media makes it.
That is also true as well. That is also true. There is a lot of Gen Zers that do not want to do the whole hookup kind of situation. I assume they kind of want an actual relationship, you know?
Seem like everyone does these things, and that you should too. And if you aren't, you're weird or a Puritan because you simply don't enjoy hooking up with someone random. So it's not a surprise that a lot of Gen Z adults walk around full of guilt and insecurity from a lifetime of comparing themselves to others on social media. Oddly enough, I don't think Gen Z is avoiding sex or clutching their pearls like a southern grandma at the thought of sleeping with someone. We've had so much sex thrown at us through hookups and adult models desperate to get you to click on their link in bio that I think a lot of us just desire something real. It's damaging for all young people, but speaking as a guy, I think a lot of young men don't have a relationship with women outside of adult content and one-night stands. So a lot of Gen Z is just seeking closeness with another person. With how hard it is to connect with others now, a lot of us are seeking a kind of intimacy on a more personal level before a physical one, you know?
That makes sense. Yep. I've met a couple of people who really want like an actual like intimate relationship, you know, and the sex isn't really all that everything that they want. But at the same time, you know, I have met Gen Zers who are just straight up horny. That's it, man. Like they just wanna have sex, you know?
Oh, I was thinking we could have a little more fun. What did you have in mind? We could keep the party going in your bed. Oh, I like the sound of. Hello? Yo, bro, new update just dropped. We running it or what? Tell him you're busy. I'm already there, bro. Send an invite. All right, bro, I need a 30-piece with a side of fries. You got me? Oh, on me.
Yeah, I could definitely see something like that happening.
I cracked two, bro. They're one shot in there. They're one shot. Another big thing people say about Gen Z is that we're very sensitive, which people usually say to me we're easily offended by things. And I will admit that there are some younger people who need to grow some thicker skin, but I think that this is a reflection of the reality that Gen Z is a generation that wants to create a culture of respect. The average Zoomer is probably a bit more aware of people's cultural sensitivities compared to previous generations, and I think in general, Gen Z values empathy and emotional intelligence in their relationships. But it also seems like now that we're older, being nonchalant is the new trend. And I think it's also what's pushing us further apart from each other. Connecting with other people requires you to open yourself up and be vulnerable with others. But
that is a very interesting thing to hear of how, like, cause like I do have friends who are Gen Zers, right? And I will have to say, I did actually open up to a good handful of Gen Zers back in, back like, I'd say maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And then that's pretty much about it. But most of the time, I usually don't say any of my, like, vulnerabilities, I usually keep that hush hush. I take that shit to the grave.
a lot of people are so afraid of getting hurt that they'd rather pretend to not care. But this doesn't really work for everyone, because a guy like me will be like, whatever, I don't care, and then I'll go home and cry. But despite all of this, there are still a lot of us who aren't on the same page when it comes to what's acceptable nowadays. We've all got that one friend with no filter that you can't take anywhere. Bro, it's good to see you again. Glad we can catch up. Facts, bro. Life's been crazy. You been good though? Yeah, bro, you know me. I just been chilling. You? Man, let me tell you about this one coworker that's been getting on my nerves. Ah, man, that's the worst. Yeah, I can't stand her fat self. Like, honestly, bro, these fat girls need to shut up. Like, it's always fat people hating on me. Like, low-key, bro, if you're fat, you shouldn't vote. They should put up a scale at the voting booth, and you can't come in if you're too fat. What's everybody looking at? But on the other side of things, there are also a lot of people who try to use their understanding of emotions to take advantage of people as well. Now,
that is also, dude, this is very fucking true, because I've had people come up to me when there were when I used to play VR chat and everything like that, right? A lot of the like younger gen, like at least a little bit of the younger gen or so, would come up to me and like, tell me about, about this situation itself, how they were like being manipulated and, all this other shit,
nowadays, it's really common for people to try to weaponize therapy language to justify their own bad behaviors.
Yep.
Hey, I'm not trying to be mean,
Yep.
but our reports are due tomorrow and we still don't have your part yet. Wow. Okay. Crossing my boundaries here. Are you trying to trigger me by bringing up my past traumas? Huh? What are you talking about? I'm just asking about the project. Oh, so now you're gaslighting me, belittling my trauma and acting like a narcissist. What trauma are you talking about? Oh my God, you're gonna make me relive this. In college, I had to submit a report once, and I got a D on it. It ruined me for years. Okay, that's not trauma. That's just something you didn't like. You're such a manipulator. When it comes...
Dude, I've never interacted with any of these kinds of people, but if I ever do, I am immediately shutting them out. Immediately. All right? I know how these people are, but I would never, ever, personally, I would never be friends with these kinds of individuals. It's just... dude, it's just a lot of tiptoeing around the area. I'm just like, look, man, we have differences. You agree to disagree, and then we just fucking move on, okay? Because I've had an argument with a certain friend of mine that we had a very like agree to disagree situation. I'm like, I just completely let it go, but man, dude, my friend did not let it go whatsoever, and all I have to say is just like, bro, it's not that deep, man. Like, honestly, it's not that crazy. But, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's just whatever, It's just, I don't know. And it was with a Gen Zer. It is with a Gen Zer that I had an interaction with this. So, I haven't interacted with them in a while, so who knows if they have changed and they become better themselves. but I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to go a little bit too detail on it because I did it in the past. I did say specifically like they did some kind of stuff that I personally did not like, but that's pretty much it though.
Comes to Gen Z, I think a lot of times we have a bad habit of using buzzwords like mental health and depression to describe the ways we feel. And they might not always be accurate. And sometimes
That's so true.
This leads to older generations thinking we're all moody and can't get anything done. But I don't think Gen Z is more sensitive than previous generations. I even think we've been desensitized to a lot of things thanks to the internet. But I think that we're some of the first to actually have the vocabulary and education necessary to have a dialogue about things like anxiety and depression. 50-year-olds don't really talk about their mental health. That's why you have so many older people who are bitter and easily agitated all the time. They get anxious and depressed too, but outside of therapy, they don't have much of an outlet to talk about these things. Gen Z is pushing for that to change. But unfortunately, this does come with challenges, especially for young Gen Z men. And I know that conversations about men's mental health are usually only brought up to take away from talking about women's mental health. But as a young Gen Z adult man, I'm just asking
Have you heard of Kanto's new song that came out? No, I have not.
you to hear me out here. I remember hanging out with my homies one day, and I asked them an interesting question. Yeah, boy, I'm cooking you. Bro, you always cheating, bro. Bro, how am I cheating? You're just buns. Nah, I got next, bro. I'm about to clap you. Yo, bros, random question. What's up, bro? Bro, like, does your dad have friends? What do you mean? Like, does your dad have a bunch of guys he just hangs out with? Kind of like we're doing now. Now that I think about it, I don't think he does. Yeah, mine neither. He just kind of hangs out with my mom and that's it. Yeah, same. You guys think we'll be like that when we're older too?
Okay.
I hope not, because I'm about to hit this dude with the meanest Kamehameha. Bro, come on.
Dude, okay. This is very relatable because I'm trying to remember off the top of my head too as well from my ex-dad. What the fuck am I talking about? My ex-dad basically, right? Because he's not part of, he's not part of the Void family anymore. Because of very nasty situation. From what I specifically I'm trying to remember, right? He never had friends either. So I remember him specifically that he always is with my mom all the time. So this is definitely true. This is 100% very true. And I think when I become a parent, right? I think my friends are mostly going to be online because Sage is one of my friends that's online, right? I think definitely when I become like an adult or anything like that, or when I come like not an adult, but when I come like a parent basically, I think I'll still be hanging out with Sage, like on a Discord VC, and then just have my child here, with me. And, just kind of like chilling and everything, or just kind of like basically saying, look, hey Sage, look, it's my child. He came to say hi, I feel like I could definitely see that, from time to time, to catch up and everything.
Oh, that's not fair. And that conversation kind of opened my eyes to the fact that for a lot of men, it's very easy to find yourself socially isolated. I think that for a lot of guys, balancing work or school, taking care of yourself, and pursuing your personal goals can cause you to withdraw from your community because you're too busy just...
I'll just say I know things about your num that you shouldn't know until you're 18. Num? I don't even know what num is.
Trying to survive. And I'm not saying this is entirely exclusive to men. A lot of my female friends have said that they struggle connecting with other women too, because a lot of young women either just want to complain about men or only come to them to talk about their problems and then go ghost once they feel better. But unfortunately, as a guy, that's not a perspective I can really comment meaningfully on. I do know that at least for women, they do tend to rely on each other more than men do when they're going through things. And I wish more men felt the same way. Instead, a lot of young guys are conditioned to think that the world doesn't care about their problems, so they never reach out for support. So when you're laying in that king-size bed with no queen, sometimes you gotta turn on the goth girlfriend ASMR roleplay.
Take care. Get some good rest, Sage. Thank you for coming by as always. Very much appreciated, so. The goth girlfriend shaves your head. Balding reassurance ASMR. Interesting.
play, and cry yourself to sleep. However, I wish that this was something that was completely harmless, but unfortunately, I think we all know that some guys have unhealthy ways of dealing with their problems, and they do and say things that are harmful to others. Incel is a word that's been thrown around a lot recently to describe guys that have these beliefs, and this might be a hot take, but I don't believe most of these guys truly are hopeless rejects. I know having empathy for what's associated with some of the worst parts of this ideology is hard, but I think the truth is that a lot of young men are simply just misguided. We know that being a Gen Z adult is a challenging and confusing time, and I think that a lot of young men are seeking guidance for handling these challenges. Things like bettering yourself, financial success, mental health, personal fitness, finding happiness and fulfillment in life, and yes, even getting a girlfriend are all struggles young people face. And a lot of times, you're gonna fail when you're chasing these things. Sadly, for
if I remember correctly, the new generation definitely has a tough time with relationships. At least from like what I've seen, you know, the new gen definitely has a good struggle fest. The red pill is having a bad effect on Gen Z guys like Fresh and Fit. Honestly, if you listen to Fresh and Fit, I swear, man, you need to rethink about your life, in my personal opinion. Like, honestly, like don't be listening to people who are just disrespecting women, because like that should be like common sense, you know? Like that's 100% common sense thing, you know? I feel like common sense is kind of thrown out the window sometimes when it comes to these kinds of situations. I don't know. It's like,
For a lot of young men, there isn't anyone there to help them pick themselves back up when they do. So a lot of guys feel abandoned when they're trying their hardest to be their best. No one is talking to young men, and sadly, the only ones reaching out to them are influencers and podcasters with a harmful agenda.
There it is. There it is. That's what he just said. Yeah, there it is. Exactly. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Thanks for letting me borrow your calculator, bro. You really came in clutch for me. No problem, bro. I was just chilling watching this new podcast. Ah, dude, you're watching these guys? You gotta turn that kind of stuff off. You're gonna be scaring the shotties. Bro, it's not even that bad. They just talk about self-improvement. Welcome back to Trad and Chad, the show where we hate women and you should too. Bro, it's just jokes, bro. Just keep watching. Listen, guys, you can't just be laying in bed all day. You need to get up and do something productive with your day. You can't sit around doing nothing wondering why your life isn't getting better. See, bro, they're all about positivity. And also, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Men are clearly way smarter than them. Look here.
There it is. There it is. It's right there. There it is. Oh my god.
Research shows that boys go to college to get more knowledge and girls go to Jupiter to get more stupider. You can't argue with science. Exactly. And liberals want you to think. You were saying? Okay, I didn't expect them to say all that. Mental health for guys is tricky because I think a lot of men's mental health advocates are really just preying on vulnerable young men for financial gain. They aren't actually trying to help, but are instead turning young men's pain into prejudice and feeding them a toxic ideology that only further alienates them from their community. I think a bit.
Yeah, especially while there's literally, like, straight up no joke, there is boot camps for guys to be alpha males, quote unquote quotation marks, alpha males, okay? All right, there's literally boot camps for that. It's just, I'm like, bro, you don't need boot camp to be an alpha male or try to get bitches, you know? Just be yourself. That's it, man. That's all you really need to do, man. Just be honest with yourself, bro. You don't have to go that crazy to show off your alpha-ness, you know, quotation marks, alpha-ness.
Big mistake a lot of guys make is thinking that they need to do everything alone. So many young men decide they want to make a change in their life and they immediately shut themselves away try and lock in. But honestly, this is the most counterproductive way to go about it. Isolation isn't the answer, community is. No matter.
Yes, it is true, but there are certain people who can handle being isolated by themselves without any problems. I've had that for myself because I came from the void, right? I was, entrapped for quite a while and I was isolated and behind my seal. And then apparently I had a certain guy friend, right? So this is from my guy friend, right? He was alone and isolated for like, so it was basically after high school. It was like probably like maybe like a few years after high school that he told me that he didn't had any friends or interactions for like almost a bit like 6 years. Yeah. Like he never had friends over. He never really decided to kind of like interact with people as much. He just kind of like plays video games, just minding his own business, watching, watching YouTube videos. And he just went along with his day. He just gets up and then goes to work and just literally minds his own business, and that's pretty much it. He never really went to a bar or anything like to get something to drink, meet some people, or socialize or anything. He really did not socialize for quite a while, actually. I don't know how he is now, but yeah, he didn't do that for like quite a long time. And like he was okay, like he was alright. There was nothing really wrong with him, specifically like when it comes to social aspect. It's just he just wanted to be alone, No, he was fine. He was having a good time, He was just playing video games. He was having a grand. He doesn't hate women, Like he really like doesn't hate women. He just doesn't seek out like a woman, That's it. Like he was literally like, there was one point in his because like he never really had that many friends apparently in high school, and he just kind of like was a little bit more of the loner type, and all he did was just focus on his studies, and he just did his own thing. That's it. Like it really did not really bother him whatsoever. He's doing fine now. Like he's pretty all right, Yeah, he just decided to be reserved. That's it, That's just generally it. Like he never went to go out of his way to like to go make friends or to socialize or anything like that. He just never bothered of doing it. Like he told me like the stories and everything like that. Like he would sometimes just be in his house, play some video games, either play Call of Duty or play some Minecraft or play some kind of single player game that's that comes out during the time of it on his PlayStation console. And he just never really interacted with anybody. Like he just minded his own business, And then later down the line, he discovered about Discord and like communities and stuff like that. And he just kind of like he decided to join and to check it out. He's doing all right. He never had any issues. Like nobody like he wasn't like socially awkward. He wasn't nothing like that. And like that's pretty much about it.
No matter what your goals are, you'll reach them a lot faster if you work with other people to get there. Whether you want to get jacked, chase...
Maybe he's just mentally different. Maybe that's probably the difference why. I don't know. I just couldn't really like wrap my head around it, personally.
Your dreams, or even find someone to love. Even the dorkiest, most introverted guy can get a girl if he has the right homies in his corner to bring out the best in him.
You want to know something? If fucking what's his face, Christian, if Christian can get a fucking woman and knock her up, anybody in his goddamn chat and my fucking YouTube community can do the same thing as well, okay? You can also get a woman, okay? All right? If Christian can get a woman, you can also get a woman too, okay? All right? That's all I gotta say, okay? All right?
I know that if you're a young guy who genuinely tries his best to be a good person, it can be really confusing when the sentiment you hear from other people is that you're trash and that it's your fault the world is the way it is. I think all of us in Gen Z have heard that a million times regardless of gender. It seems unfair when you're blamed for the actions of other people you've never even met for things you would never even do. But I think of it like a house on fire. Even if you didn't set it on fire, if you're not doing something to help put it out, you're still kind of just letting it burn. And you might not be a firefighter who's ready to rush into action to put it out yourself, but there are still other ways we can all be useful. I'm not saying you need to be a pick-me and take accountability for things that aren't even your fault. I'm just saying that you have the ability to choose how other people view you on an individual level. And you don't need to do it alone. You shouldn't expect to do it alone either. I know I said before that Gen Z is finding it hard to connect with each other, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there looking for it. I think Gen Z's greatest strength right now is the power of choice. Throughout our entire childhood, the world was constantly transforming. And now that we're adults, we're walking into what is basically uncharted territory, meaning that we get to decide what the future holds. I think that embracing community is something we should do more. Individuality is important, it's how we express ourselves. But we shouldn't be afraid to share ourselves with others too. When I go to the store, my mom always expects me to bring her back a chocolate bar. And for a while, I didn't really understand why. If she wanted a chocolate bar so bad, why doesn't she ever just buy one herself? But I realized she was teaching me a lesson about thoughtfulness. And if I was at the store getting things for myself, maybe I should think of someone else for a second too. A chocolate bar costs about $1, and that's a pretty small price.
What? Where the fuck do you buy a chocolate bar that's $1? What the hell? What the fuck? It does not cost $1 anymore. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Honestly, what the fuck? Where do you find a chocolate bar that costs like $1? I've never found a chocolate bar that costs like $1. What the hell? And you're rich in the wherever you live or so. You have the rich life over there. Goddamn.
Price to pay to make someone else's day that much brighter. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. And
that was a good video. That was actually generally a good video. Honestly, it's very interesting to kind of see. I don't know if he's a Gen Zer, right? I have no idea. But from like what I'm hearing about it, it feels like it personally. I think it's pretty cool, honestly. Honestly, I have no problem with it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Gen Zers. But, like, it's very interesting to hear that, like, you know, Gen Zers are, like, non-sexualness. Like, they have, like, a non-sexual kind of type of thing. It's so weird to hear that because, like, man, dude, the Gen Zers that I interact with or that I know of or so, man, dude, they're horny, dude. They're fucking horny, man. That's crazy to hear that they're, like, they're not into, like, the whole sex thing. That's very interesting to hear that. And then also, like, I don't know, it's very interesting to kind of hear like what the younger generation has to say, or like what they're thinking of what stuff they're going through, you know. But yeah, overall that was a great vid. Like I said, Suburban Will, great video so far. It's been a great video. I've been subscribed to him for quite a while, so banger of a video. Honestly, it's very interesting to just see, you know, Suburban overall. If you guys haven't, you know, there it is. Give the man a subscribble, you know. Let that shit sink in anyways. But anyways, yeah, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. And yeah, as someone who's been sealed away for millennia, you know, and also I've been here since like King Tut has been a baby, you know. I was sealed for quite a while. It's very interesting to hear, you know, how the Gen Zers are. But yeah, that's the end of the video. And peace.